Welcome to today's Crosspoint Devotion. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that's probably more for me than it might be for you. There are a few things in my faith that are still struggles, and one of those is, how do we handle taking care of the poor? You probably have been in the same circumstance I'm going to describe, and you may have the same response that I often have, but I've been in situations where I'm driving down the road, I come to an intersection, there's somebody standing there with a sign that says needs work or needs food, and my usual response is, oh, they just need to go get a job. And I continue through the red light, or I make the turn at the stop sign, and I just completely ignore that, because in some regards I feel like if they really wanted to work, they could, and if they really were working at it, then they could take care of their own needs. And so sometimes our response to the poor is not very kind. It's not very generous. It's not very gracious. I'm sure you've had that struggle. We all do. It's probably an American thing more than a world thing, because our society is driven by so much of the hard work ethic and capitalism that we often look down on the poor. This week I was reading in my daily Bible readings, and I came across Proverbs 19:17, and this is what it said. Kindness to the poor is a loan to the Lord. Now let me read that again. Kindness to the poor is a loan to the Lord. The Lord looks at our kindness when we see people who are poor, who are destitute, who are struggling through life. The Lord looks at that as an investment in the kingdom. That's the way that's phrased. Kindness is really an investment in God's kingdom. I'm not doing very well when it comes to kindness toward the poor. Maybe you're not either. Again, maybe this devotion's more for me than it is for you. But this is a pretty convicting verse. Kindness to the poor is a loan to the Lord. It's advancing God's kingdom. And then it says on the back side of the verse, because I've only read the front side, and He, that means God, will give a reward to the lender. When you and I decide that we're going to be about the kingdom, we're going to look at all people as people created in the image of God, who are worthy of dignity and respect. When we look at them as people that Jesus went to the cross and died for, and He gave His life for, when we look at them through that lens and we see them as people, not just poor, then all of a sudden we have a different agenda with our money. We have a different agenda with our kindness. And that's why I think this verse is something maybe we need to meditate on and consider and give some credence to. Kindness to the poor is a loan to the Lord. And then in reverse, and He, God, will give a reward to the lender. You and I can't ever help the poor with a right motivation that God's not going to see it. And when He sees it, He sees His kingdom is being prioritized in our lives, that we're actually kind of living like Jesus, and we're glorifying God because we're honoring someone created in His image. And He says, I'm going to reward that person. I'm going to make sure they know I see the love that they've just demonstrated to someone who needs it desperately. Now, do I have all this worked out? I probably don't. Because the next time I come to another intersection and I see the same scene, it's going to be a struggle in my life to do what God has maybe revealed in this verse. And I'm sure it'll be a struggle for you as well. But I just wanted us to kind of keep in perspective and be working toward obedience. That when we see the poor, we need to see that as an opportunity to glorify God, to honor God, to exalt Jesus, and make a loan to the Lord for the kingdom. And He will reward it in due time. Well, I hope that'll challenge you to give some thought to your own faith. Many times we talk about topics and you go, oh, I've got that one conquered. I can almost assure you today you don't have this one conquered, and neither do I. And that's why we're still on the journey of discipleship, because God's still teaching us things that we need to know to live for Jesus. Well, I hope you have a great day, and we hope you'll come back and join us for the next Crosspoint Devotion.